When it comes to crimping cables, it seems everybody has an opinion. Now, if you ask 10 electricians, you'll probably get 11 answers, particularly when it comes down to the crimping method itself. Now, today we're going to look at the dieless indent crimping method using this new tool from Klauke, the EK30 IDML. We've been using this battery-powered crimp tool in lots of different applications, and I've put some short videos out there on social media, and if you're one of the 28 million people who watched my hack of how to get a really flexible conductor into a crimp terminal, you've probably seen it. Now, if you're one of the thousands of people in that video who told me I was doing it wrong, we're going to come back to that later, and I might even have to issue myself an eFIXX blue plaque. The great thing about the dieless crimping method is you can crimp a huge range of cables without having to change anything on this tool. Now, this tool can crimp from 6mm squared conductors all the way up to 120mm squared. Now, it might be a little bit fiddly at the 6mm end, you'll probably still be using your hand crimper there, but this lightweight tool is fantastic for those larger conductor sizes, and I say effortless, one-handed operation. Alongside the cross-sectional area of the conductor, we also need to think about the conductor type. Now, this machine will deal with class 2, 5 and 6 conductors. Now, if you're not up on your classes of conductor, we have made a separate video about that. I will leave a link in the description, but to summarize, a class 2 conductor is something you'll typically find in a fixed electrical installation. A class 5, something usually found in panel building, and class 6, something possibly in automation applications where you've got a lot of movement. You often see them in battery leads, so I've seen them in plating baths within PCB factories. Now, if you're using a die-based crimp tool, you may have to change the die size depending upon the actual class of conductor, and there's a good reason for that. I've got two copper tube terminals here, both designed for 70mm squared cross-sectional area conductors, but you'll notice there's a massive difference in the diameter of the opening between the one designed for class 6 and the one designed for class 2 conductors, and that's because the conductor size changes considerably with the class. Now, a class 6 conductor is made up of hundreds of tiny fine strands that are twisted together in bundles and then further twisted to make up the conductor, and that increases the diameter, so hence we need a bigger crimp. So there you go, that was a fantastic hack, but you don't need to do it if you use the correct crimp terminal. So therefore, everyone in the comments was right and I was wrong. So that's another advantage of this dieless crimping method. It can continually adjust between different classes of conductor and different sizes because the crimping force is measured inside the tool, so you get consistent crimping. So just to throw another variable into our crimping process, and this one cannot be solved by the tool or the crimp process that you're using, and that's the quality of the crimp terminals themselves. Now, it's usually recommended that you buy them as a system, so both the tool and the terminal made or approved by the manufacturer of the tool, because they'll have been tested as a system together, and there's loads of standards out there for performance of crimp terminals, but you might choose a different option to go for something a little bit cheaper that you find online. So on crimp terminals, the manufacturer is identified, so here we can see the Klauke name there, and on this crimp terminal here, but on this one here it's denoted by the K. So we'll just put them to one side for now and bring in some unknown crimps, which you'll see on there. There's no manufacturer details, and just have a closer look at them, you'll see there's a significant difference in some of the diameters. So the thickness on this one, but this one's actually wider, but just have a little look. I've got 5 here. We'll put them on the kitchen scales. Here's our unbranded crimps. You can see them 10 grams. Sweep them to one side. Now bring in the Klauke crimps. You can see we've got 18 grams there. So somewhere along the way, a significant amount of copper has vanished. So it's no wonder with all these variables that everyone has an opinion when it comes to crimping. Now, Klauke have produced a handy guide that takes you through the different crimping methods, because they do manufacture both types of tool, but it also goes into details about different conductor types, the crimping methods, and some of the other materials available even when it comes to crimp terminals. I will leave a link in the description for that, and a link to the tools as well. And once you've read that, perhaps we can anorak in the comments a little bit further about what is the best crimping method. So back to the tool itself, I like the compact, lightweight design of this. With the rotatable head, you can get into all sorts of tricky places in switch gear and control gear assemblies. Of course, you can open the crimping mechanism as well, because otherwise it'd be pretty useless. You wouldn't be able to get it off the cable when you've done a through crimp. The 10.8 volt lithium-ion battery is common across lots of tools in the Klauke range. Now, speaking of the Klauke range, you've probably spotted the ferrule crimper as well, which we've reviewed in this video.